Hello everyone, welcome you again to IT Era Academy. I am Priyanka. In today's session, we are going to discuss some basic ASP.NET interview questions and answers, which will be helpful for those who are preparing for web developer or full stack developer. So, stay connected and watch this video till the end. Before we start, if you are someone new to this channel and you have not subscribed yet, I would like to recommend you to subscribe my channel because I always come up with such a videos which will be helpful to be better prepared for your technical interviews and also to clear your conceptual understanding. And also click on a bell icon next to the subscribe which will ensure you will be notified with my new videos every time and you don't miss anything important. Let's start with our first question. What is web application? A web application is a software that the user can access through web browser such as Chrome, Firefox. The browser make HTTP request for specific URL for the web application and the web application server intercept and process the request to build dynamic HTML response sent to the user. Some example of popular web application include Reddit, Google, Yahoo, etc. If interviewer further asks how it differ from website, then you can answer it. A web application is different from typical website. A website is a static. When you go to the website, it returns a HTML page without doing any processing to build the content of HTML page. You will see the same page if you reload the browser. In contrast, web application might return different response each time you visit the page. That's it. This was a very basic question to start the interview. But yes, it is also important to be prepared for such a basic questions because these are the one who help to build up a rapport with your interviewer. With this note, let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. Explain ASP.NET Page Lifecycle. To answer this question, you can explain different stages of ASP.NET Page Lifecycle. And the first stage is page request. When ASP.NET get page request, it decide whether to pass and compile the page or there would be cache version of the page. Accordingly, they respond. Next is starting of page lifecycle. At this stage, request and response object are set. If the request is an old request or a postback, then each postback property of the page is set to true. The UI culture property of the page is also set here. After that, page initialization. At this stage, the control on the page are assigned unique ID by setting unique ID property. And themes also get set here. For a new request, postback data is loaded and the control properties are also restored to view state values. Next is page load. At this stage, control properties are set using view state and control state values. Next is validation. At this stage, validate method of the validation control is called and on its successful execution, the is valid property of the page is set to true. After that, postback event handling. If the request is a postback, that is old request, the related event handler are invoked. And next one is page rendering. At this stage, view state for the page and all controls are saved. Page calls the render method for each control and output of rendering is returned to output stream class of the response property of the page. And lastly is unload. The rendered page is sent to the client and page property such as response and request are unloaded and all cleanup done. Okay, that was the stages of ASP.NET Page Lifecycle. Moving to next question, that is our third question. What are ASP.NET Page Lifecycle event? Note one thing, answer to page lifecycle stages and page lifecycle event is different. Don't get confused between these two questions. That's why I am covering both questions in a same session. Here I have listed all event occurring page lifecycle. Let's go through it. Pre-init. Pre-init is the first event in the page lifecycle. It checks the is postback property and determine whether the page is postback. It sets themes and master pages, create dynamic controls, also gets and sets the property values. This event can be handled by overloading on pre-init method or creating page underscore pre-init handler. Second is init event. Init event initialize the control property and the control tree is built. This event can be handled by overloading on init method or creating page init handler. Third one is a init complete event. Init complete event allow tracking of view state. All the controls turn on view state tracking here. Next one is load view state event. Load view state event allow loading view state information into controls. Next is load post data. During this phase, content of all input fields are defined and the form tags are processed. After that, preload. Preload occurs before postback data is loaded into controls. This event can be handled by overloading on preload method or creating page underscore preload handler. After that, load event get occur. The load event is raised for the page first and then recursively for all child controls. The controls in the control tree are created. This event can be handled by overloading on load method or creating page underscore load handler. After that, load complete. Loading process is completed in this event. Control event handler are run and page validation takes place. This event can be handled by overloading on load complete or by creating page underscore load complete handler. Next is pre-render. The pre-render event occurs just before output is rendered. By handling this event, page and controls can perform any update before the output is rendered. After that, pre-render complete. As the pre-render event is recursive, fired for all child controls, this event ensures completion of pre-rendering phase. Then save state complete. State of control on the page is saved. Personalization, control state and view state information is saved. HTML markup is generated. This stage can be handled by overriding render method or by creating page underscore render handler. And lastly, unload event. The unload phase is the last phase of the page lifecycle. It raises unload event for all controls recursively and lastly for the page itself. Final cleanup is done and all resources and references such as database connections are freeze. This event can be handled by modifying on unload method or creating page unload handler. So this was the event occurred in the page lifecycle of ASP.NET. As you are preparing for ASP.NET interview, one of these two questions will be compulsory asked. So do well prepared for it. I will suggest you rewind video here and go through these two questions again so it will be get more clear idea. This time you can relate these questions. Okay. After this, our next question will be explain session state in ASP.NET. Well, we all know our web is stateless as it uses HTTP protocol. Means a new instance of web page class is recreated each time the page is posted back to the server. As HTTP is the stateless protocol, it can't hold the client information on a page. For example, if the user inserts some information on one page and then moves to the next page, then inserted data will be lost from the first page. And moreover, the user will not able to retrieve that information. Hence, we require the session state here. As session is a variable used between the client and a server that is stored on the server side. So, session help to maintain the user state and the data all over the application by storing the information on the server memory. There are two type of session depend on which server it save the information. One is a in proc mode and another is a out proc mode. In proc mode which stores session state in a memory on a web server that is IIS and this is a default one. Whereas in out proc mode it use state server and SQL server to store information. Sometime interviewer may ask a separate question that what is default time for session and from where we can change it. So you can answer this like default time for the session in ASP.NET is 20 minutes and it can be changed by updating timeout property of session state variable in web.config file. Here I have mentioned how we did session state setting in a web.config file. Have a look at it. Okay, then we can move to the next question. Our next question is, what is master page in ASP.NET? A master page is a ASP.NET file with a extension .master and predefined layout that can include static text, HTML element, and server control. Master page provides a template for other pages with a shared layout and functionality. Master page defines placeholder for the content, which can be overridden by content pages. The output result is the combination of master page and content page. The main advantage of the master page is it allow you to create consistent look and behavior for all pages in your web application. We declare master page by using @master directive as I have mentioned on the screen. This will be enough answer for this question. What is master page? I will again remind you, your answer should be to the point. If interviewer asks you anything in a detail, then only you should go in a detailed explanation, like its content tag and more. Next question will be, what is global.ascx file and why do we use it? Global.ascx file is also known as ASP.NET application file, which is used to handling higher level application event such as application start, application end, session start, session end, etc. This file reside in a root directory of ASP. Global.asx file are never called directly by user. Rather, they are called automatically in response to application event. Some more point to be remembered about global.asx that are, they do not contain HTML or ASP.NET tag. They always contain method with a specific predefined name. They define method for a single class, that is application class. And they are optional, but web application can have only one global.asx file. Here interviewer can ask such a question like, how many global.asx file can be included in a single application? You have to answer it. There can be only one global.asx file in a single application. Now moving to next question, that will be last question for the session. That is, what are theme and skin in ASP.NET? So let's answer this. ASP.NET theme are collection of properties that define the appearance of page and control in a website. Theme can include one or many CSS file, .skin file, and images. But talking about the skin, skin is a simply text file with a .skin extension and contain definition of styles applied to server controls in ASP.NET. Main difference between CSS file and a .skin file is that CSS is applied to HTML control and skin are applied to server controls. So that's it for the today's session. I hope you like this video and content may also helpful. So do share this video with your friends also. Here I have covered only few questions. Very soon I will come up with some more interview questions and answers in a .asp.net. So stay tuned with us. Also don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you for the listening and have a great day.